ازيكم يا شباب، عاملين ايه؟ يا رب تكونوا كلكم بخير وكويسين. النهارده هنكمل فيديو تاني بارت 2 بتاع ال Transportation Model. هنعمل كده كويك ريفيو على اللي قلناه في الفيديو اللي فات. And as we said before, the transportation model definition is a special class of linear programming problem is transportation problem, where the objective is to minimize the cost of distributing a product from a number of sources to a number of destinations, while satisfying both the supply limits and the demand requirements. In brief, that means that I'm trying to lease my cost for transfer product from my company or my factory to another place, like a store or mall. Okay? The second definition or the second explanation said that because of the special structure of the transportation problem, the simplex method of solving is unsuitable for the transportation problem. The model assumes that the distribution cost on a given route is directly proportional to the number of units distributed on that route. Generally, the transportation model can be extended to areas other than the direct transportation of a commodity, including, among others, inventory control, employment scheduling, and personnel assignment. Which means that for solving transportation model, I have to calculate it with two ways or two methods. Northwest method, like we said in the previous video, and today we'll explain least cost method, and we will show it next in our follow-up slides. Okay, the second explanation in this slide that the model assumes that the distribution cost, like it goes hand by hand with the number of units distributed on the same path. Okay, and transportation model can be also extended to another explanation or to another jobs to do, like inventory control or employment scheduling or personnel assignment. Okay, that's the example we have said also in the previous video, but we will review it quick as possible. It said that 3 factories A, B, and C each produces 2,000, 3,200, and 800 units of product G, respectively. 3 warehouses each requires 1,200, 1,800, and 3,000 units of product G from 3 factories. Okay. The previous information in the previous slide explained or shown in this table, like written here, from to 2, from A factory to X, from B factory to Y, for example, from C factory to Z as example. And I have 2 columns, sorry, 1 column and 1 row. The column quantity produced in units, of course, and row quantity required in units. In the previous video, we explained the first 2 requirements, the formulation of the problem and how to solve transportation model according to northwest corner method. Today, in this video, we are going to explain the second 2 requirements, which is solving the transportation model according to least cost method and to figure out its optimal distribution. Okay. Very little note that optimal distribution, we only do it for this method, this cost. We don't do it for northwest. Okay. And to solve least cost, we will do it in 3 steps. Okay. The first step, step number 1, select the cell having minimum unit cost and allocate as much as possible. That I'm looking for the least number in dollar. Okay. Step 2, subtract this minimum value from supply and demand. Second, if the supply is 0, then cross that row and if the demand is 0, then cross that column. Okay. Number C, if minimum unit cost cell is not unique, then select the cell where maximum allocation can't be possible. And also we will show it in the example. Step 3, repeat these steps for all uncrossed rows and columns until all supply and demand values are 0. What does this mean? Here's our table. This column from to 2, from factory A, B, and C to product X, Y, Z. This column, quantity produced in units, and that row, quantity required also in units. Okay, and these numbers are cost in dollars. But the only difference that I put the cost in dollar, like for example 12, in a small square upper left for this cell, AX or AY or OZ. Okay, now we will solve it according to least cost method, which means that I will choose the smallest or the least cost in dollar through these numbers. But there is a problem. We have two small numbers, 12 in cell AX and 12 also in BZ. How can I choose from this cell or this cell? According to these numbers, the quantity according to these numbers, quantity produced and quantity required, which means that in cell AX I make comparison between 2000 and 1200, and I pick the smallest, right? So here I will put 1200. What about this cell PZ? Also I will make a comparison between 3200 and 3000. I will pick the least number, 3000, and it will be shown in the next slide. Like I said, we have two small numbers, 12 and 12 in AX and BZ. When I make the comparison in cell AX, I choose 1200 instead of 2000 because I pick the smallest number. Okay, also here I pick the 3000, not 3200. Okay, like we said that I will choose in this cell the number of 1200 and this cell 3000 instead of 3200, and I pick the 3000. Why? Because we just said in the steps for least cost method that if minimum unit cost cell is not unique, then select the cell where maximum allocation can't be possible, and that means I will pick the 3000 instead of 1200. نقول الكلام تاني. قلنا في الجدول اللي فات أنا least cost method دي بتعتمد على إيه؟ إن أنا بختار الرقم الأقل في الكوستس دي اللي هي ال 12 وال 360 وال 48 وال 12 والتيبل كله. أنا بختار أقل أرقام في الكوست بالدولار. يعني أنا عندي هنا رقمين زي بعض، ال 12 دولار في ال AX وال 12 دولار في ال BZ. هختار أنهي؟ أول حاجة بمشي ستيبس عادية، إن أنا بختار بين ال 2000 وال 1200. هختار ال 1200 عشان هي الرقم الأقل، التكلفة الأقل أو اليونتس الأقل. في ال 12 بتاعة ال BZ أنا برضو بعمل مقارنة بين ال 3200 وبين ال 3000 وبختار ال 3000. تمام؟ أنا بقى يعني طلعت الرقمين بتاعة ال AX وال BZ، هختار على أساس إيه؟ أنا في ال AX مقدرش أختارها عشان هي مش الرقم الأكبر عندي في الحد الأقصى. بمعنى إيه؟ بمعنى ال 3000 دي أنا لما هختارها أنا كده بقدر إن أنا آخد وحدات كتيرة، أو الوحدات المطلوبة مني هقدر أنفذها وبكمية قليلة. تاني، أنا ليه اخترت ال3000 وما اخترتش ال1200؟ هقولها تاني. أنا مفروض يعني في الترانسبورتيشن موديل عموما أو في اليس كوست ميثود بالذات، إن أنا بحاول أشوف أكبر عدد بين الكمية هقدر أنقله وبأقل تكلفة عندي ممكنة. أنا التكلفة عندي فين؟ ال12 وال12، تمام؟ وعندي وحدتين أو عدد من الوحدات على خليتين أو 2 cells، ال1200 وال3000، فطبيعي هختار ال3000 اللي هي أكبر كمية من الوحدات هقدر أنفذها وبكوست قليلة جدا، تمام؟ And here in this slide it says we will start from this cell LPZ. okay. هنا عندي إن أنا هبتدي من ال PZ زي ما قلنا. So we are going to continue our solution normal way. When we pick the 3000 from the row of quantity required, I will subtract it from the 3200 from the column of quantity produced. Okay? So when I pick the 3000 from this row, it will be 0. So I will subtract or cross this column. This will be empty cell, and this also will be an empty cell. Okay, and this number, instead of 3200, when I made the subtract, it came, or it becomes 200. So we will search for the next least cost, which is 12 in cell AX, and we will make the comparison between the 1200 and 2000. I will pick the least number, 1200, instead of 2000. okay. So the rest of the column, or the rest of the cells PX and CX, will be crossed, will be 0, will be empty. okay. And I will subtract 1200 from 2000, will remain 800. okay. In this table, like I said, I will cross down these two cells, PX and CX, will be empty, will be 0, like it's not even exist. okay. So I will make small line on 1200 and write down 0. okay. And don't forget to make a small line over here and write down 800. When I make the subtract, 1200 from 2000 will remain 800. okay. So I will search for the next cell which contain the small number, or the least cost, which is 240. Then I'll make a comparison between this number and this number, and of course, like I said, we will choose the smallest one, the 800. okay. Then when I make the subtraction, 800 from 1800 will remain 1000. So don't forget, please don't forget to cross a line like this, small line over the number, and write down 1000, which is remain, and also small line here and write down 0. okay. Then we will search for the second cell which contain least cost. So the next cell which contains the least cost, 360. I will make a comparison between the 1000 that I have written here from the subtraction, 800 from 1800 will remain 1000. okay. So I'll make the comparison between the 1000 and 800 that remains from the subtraction, 1200 from 2000, and write down the least number, which is 800. Okay, so when I take 800 from here, I will make a small line over the 800 that I have written under the 2000 and write down 0. ملخص الكلام ايه؟ عشان بس لو في ناس تاهت مني. انا لما بختار اقل تكلفة، ماشي، بعد ما بختار واعمل comparison بين ال quantity required وال quantity produced، منساش ان انا لما اكتب الرقم اللي انا طرحته، يعني انا مثلا لما اخترت هنا ال 1200 فانا طرحت ال 2000 او طرحت ال 1200 من ال 2000 اتفضل لي كام؟ اتفضل لي 800، فهكتبها يعني هعمل خط كده صغير فوق ال 2000 واكتب تحتيها 800. طيب انا اخترت بقى ال 800 هنا عشان لما قارنت ال 800 وال 1000 اخترت الرقم الأقل. طب ال 1000 دي جت منين؟ لما أنا اخترت ال 800 بتاعة الرقم بتاعة ال produced، عشان لما كنت بعمل مقارنة بين الرقم ده والرقم ده فاخترت الأصغر، فأنا لما اخترت الأصغر طرحت ال 1800 من ال 800 اتفضل لي 1000، فهعمل لاين صغير واكتبها تحتها. فأنا لما اخترت ال 800 هيتفضل من ال 1000 كام؟ 200. فلما هختار ال 200 هتبقى الإجابة صح، لأن أنا قلت قبل كده إن أنا لما بيتفضل لي آخر خلية وآخر سيل في الجدول آخر رقمين بيطلعوا زي بعض، يبقى أنا كده عندي الحل صح. لو في رقم ما طلعش زي التاني كده يبقى في مشكلة، فاضطر أعيد الجدول تاني لو في وقت. لو مفيش وقت خلاص كمل حل عادي. تمام. So when I subtract 800 from 1000 remain 200. And when I subtract the 3000 from 3200 remained 200. So my solution or my result is correct. Total cost according to LCM, least cost method, come up with these results. Okay, there is another step to solve the optimal distribution, which is the second requirement in our example to figure out the optimal distribution for least cost method. But at first we are going to make this transaction, which called this distribution plan, which means to looking for the empty cells like AZ or PX or CX and make for it this transaction and come up with this number. Okay, the first number is 48, which is the number of the cell, or which is the number cost of the cell. This number 360 is the number for the cell beside the empty cell, which is AZ. So I will make subtraction between those numbers. Okay, the number of 480 is the number below the 360, which is cross with the empty cell, which is AZ. So it will be positive. Like I'm taking from this cell a unit and give this cell a unit and take from this cell a unit. يعني ايه الكلام ده؟ انا عشان اطلع الاوبتيمال ديستريبيوشن بتاعي لازم ادور الاول على الخلايا الفاضيه اللي انا عملتها بزيرو واعمل لها الترانزاكشن دي. بمعنى ايه؟ ال 48 دي الرقم بتاع الكوست اللي موجود في الاي زد. تمام، انا بعمل زي يعني مثلا ايه، في مربع كده ومن ضمنه الاي زد. ايه هو المربع؟ المربع بتاع 48 و360 و480 وال12. فانا هحسبها ازاي؟ ال 48 دي كأن دي الخلية الفاضية اللي عندي، فانا عايزة املاها، فباخد من الخلية اللي جنبها اللي هي 360. تمام، فانا لما باخد من 360 برجع اخد زي ما قلنا بناخد من الخلية اللي جنبها اللي هي 360. فانا لما باخد من 360 وحدة بينقص منها فبعملها بالنيجاتيف. طيب 360 كده ناقص منها، انا عايزة ازودها، فاخد منين؟ هاخد من 480 الخلية اللي تحتها، مينفعش اللي جنبها، هي الموضوع بيبقى شكل كده مربع. تمام. طب 480 أنا زودت منها، هنقص من مين؟ من الخلية جنبها اللي هي 12، ويطلع لي الرقم ده بالبوزيتيف. تمام. The second cell, which is empty, is Px. You're going to make the same transaction as the previous slide. Positive 360 minus 12, positive 360 minus 480. It will come up with positive sign. Okay? Also here, the next cell, which is empty, Cx, positive 480 minus 12 plus 360 minus 240 would also come up with positive sign. Cz equal positive 26 minus 12 plus 480 minus 240 is equal plus 254. Okay? The optimal distribution to minimize total transportation cost is transportation 1200 units from A to X, transportation 800 units from A to Y, transportation 200 units from P to Y, transportation 3000 units from P to Z, and transportation 800 units from C to Y. And that's it. I hope all of you understand, and if anyone face problem, please contact us with the group of the Operation Research, and thank you all.